thanking Rukmini and the organizers for inviting me today, and thank you Father Luke for this session. So, as I'm sure all of you know, that Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest religions, supposedly at the same time as Hinduism and Judaism in different parts of the world, roughly between 1500 to 600 BCE. That's when the religion originated. The first monotheistic, or one of the first monotheistic religions, and the belief in free will, that human beings have a choice between good and evil, and that free will is given, of course, for humans to choose the good over evil always, right? Then you're supposed to be on the side of good, on the side of righteousness. So it's also considered one of the oldest green religions, because like everyone has said so far, there is a great reverence for creation, and what is mentioned is the sky, the earth, fire, water, plants, animals, and of course human beings, and that humans are the stewards of this, and therefore it is our responsibility to look after all these elements. And therefore all the religious texts have beautiful prayers which talk about the wonder of these elements, the beauties of these elements, and I think that should guide us towards looking after that. But as you rightly said, Dr. Samir, that it doesn't often translate into action. And that's why it's important that we are having this gathering. So maybe we can be more congruent between our religious beliefs and the actions that we take to have a sustainable planet today. In all our religious ceremonies, we symbolize these elements. So there will be a little, seeds will be sprouted. There will be fruit, seed-bearing fruit like pomegranates and watermelon. There will be dry fruit, water, fire. So all the time there is a reminder that these are the elements that sustain us, and therefore we should be caring for these. And the white cloth that is laid on the floor before any ceremony is again for the purity. Also we wear a white garment which is called sadra, and that again symbolizes cleanliness, purity, righteousness. All the texts exhort us not to pollute any of these elements, So we are told that do not bathe or wash in the rivers, but take what you need for your use. Similarly, smoking is not allowed by the religion because that is abusing fire. Before the sins of smoking were known as in health related. All the fire temples that we have, whether in India or in Iran, Persia, are very simple structures, and they have a well. Each temple will have a well, will have a garden. That also goes for the Parsi settlements or colonies. If you have seen them, they are all very clean and green. So I think that should inspire us that we need to look after things the way that is set up. All animals again are to be revered. The dog is given a very special importance in our religion, that it can guide you. When a person has passed away, the dog can guide the person to the afterlife. And I think you have also heard about the practice of what happens to the remains of a person after death. That, not to pollute the earth or fire. So therefore, the body is left in the Tower of Silence to be consumed by the birds of prey, and the decomposition can take place by the effects of the sun. And that is still continued till today. The ashes from the fire temple, because there is a fire that burns 24 hours, they are buried in pits and not thrown into the sea to avoid pollution. So I think these are some actions which are noteworthy, and I would just like to end with a quotation which is from one of our texts, which says, "For when he or she commits sin against water and vegetation, even when it is committed against merely a single twig of it, and he has not atoned for it when he departs from the world, the spirits of all the plants in the world stand up high in front of that person and do not let him or her go to heaven."